Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. What can go wrong when you don't listen to your wife? Becoming a good listener can make your marriage the best it can be, and not being a good listener can make the woman you pursue to marry feel unimportant and like she made a mistake. Subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea for help to attract and have a good relationship with a Filipina. What I say works for any woman. Share these videos so more men can find Love Beyond the Sea. Comments are welcome anytime. I want to be clear that my primary emphasis on Love Beyond the Sea is what the husband can do to keep his marriage on track. I'm not interested in addressing the women because I think that's the job of other women. And listening to your spouse goes both ways. How to communicate with your Filipina wife is a live stream I will link for you in the description box. Now, about not listening to your wife. When you don't listen, you can communicate a lack of interest by not listening intentionally or by not listening because you are so immersed in something else or disinterested in what someone else is saying. Either way, it hurts a relationship. For a marriage to be successful, the husband and the wife must be doing what is best for the other. And that starts with listening to each other so they can understand each other. There have been times I have asked my wife to tell me what I just said to her to see if she was paying attention. She has told me that if she is involved with something, to first ask her if she is listening. And that's good to know because when she is concentrating on something, that she's looking at on her phone, it is almost impossible to get her attention. She says the magic words are, "Hon, are you listening?" There have been times where both of us have tried to keep our hands off of our phones while at the dinner table. That's a good time to chat a little, but all too easy to get caught up in something on the phone. Now, I'm going to link a good article for you that touches on 4 things that happen when you don't listen to your wife, Filipina or otherwise. Keep in mind the Bible verse that tells us to be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. That's from James 1:19. Now, this article was written by a man named Mark Merrill, and here's what he says. Number 1, wives become distant when you don't listen to them. Sharing her thoughts and feelings is a moment of vulnerability for a woman. So when her husband doesn't give his full attention, she is left feeling rejected and instinctively pulls back to avoid more rejection. Rather than letting your wife draw herself back like this, he says, I encourage you to keep her close at all costs. Be observant enough to notice when she starts to recoil so that you can pull her into your arms, look her in the eyes, and let her know that you are always there to listen to her. Now, my thoughts, I think it takes some discipline to train yourself to look up at your wife when she has something to say. It is easy to assume that since you are married to each other that it's okay to not always pay attention. But really, your wife is the most important person in your life. I would hope so. So what is on her mind should be worth setting down what you're reading or turning down the volume on the television so she can be focused on. The second thing he says here is wives become indifferent when you don't listen to them. Another way he says that wives handle a lack of attention from their husbands is by becoming indifferent. When your wife consistently feels like she isn't being heard, she will stop expecting anything at all from you. This is a very dangerous direction to be headed in with your spouse because of the way indifference quickly turns into emotional detachment. And this makes sense to me personally. Think how you would feel if you have something exciting to share with her and frequently have to bug her or pester her to listen to you. You'll likely get the impression what you have to say isn't as important as whatever she is immersed in at the moment. I think it's important to consider the vibe it sends off when either one of you is slow to respond to attention that is wanted by the other. The third thing that he says can handle when husbands don't pay attention or don't listen to their wives is that wives lose their desire. Once your wife becomes indifferent, a loss of desire is soon to follow. Lowering her expectations regarding her conversations with you he says, leads to lowering her expectations regarding other aspects of your relationship. Unfortunately, this can cause a lack of physical desire in your relationship too. My thought, I think it's fair to say that desire or lack of desire is affected by other parts of the relationship, like communication. If she feels neglected or unimportant enough to warrant her husband's attention, it will make it more difficult for her to respond to him, where he wants it the most. I really like this man's comments, and his next one, number 4, should get any man's attention. His fourth thing that can happen when husbands don't listen to their wives is this one. Wives move their focus to other relationships. The final way wives react when their husbands don't listen is by shifting their focus onto other relationships in their lives. When they aren't receiving affirmation from you, they will turn to others to fill that need. This may mean that they share more of what's going on in their life with girlfriends instead of you. This may mean your wife spends all her time in the evening talking to the kids instead of talking with you. Or this may mean she looks for reasons to stay late at work, spending time with coworkers who listen instead of trying to come home early to see you. Now that's the end of his article. I really like this guy. He gets it. Mark Merrill is his name. Most of us are not good listeners by and large. I think it is probably a developed skill. I need to work at paying attention to my wife's words and body language. I need to be mindful of how often she tries to tell me something. I need to remember what she tells me as easily as I might remember the statistics of my favorite team or what happened at work with me. The Bible tells us to be, again, swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath or anger. Focused listening will not only help me to understand my wife, but can keep my mind free from unnecessary emotions and thinking about what I am going to say next. Listen to me when I say it is important to pay attention to your love beyond the sea.